Carl Sagan's Cosmos. Chapter 3, The Harmony of Worlds. Let's get started. Now, what is that chapter about? Firstly, it's about the differences between astronomy and astrology. Yes, there are two different types of astronomies, if that is a word. And right now, there are some things I would say that could be true about it. For one thing, astrology seems to be about a pseudoscience where basically everyone thinks the constellations are your fates, or the planets are your fates, or the movement of planets and stars on the sky are your fate. Or, yeah, that sort of thing. And right now, that seems to be true for most people, because one, everyone seems to sort of believe them, at least for a short while. Two, everyone is pretty much pro-astrology. And astronomy is a science where basically everybody is happy with these things. It's a science where it's proven by facts, and, well, it's very annoying in fact too, because one, the fact can prove you wrong, even though you would have to believe it. There goes Doctor Strange, and yeah. And two, well, there's no two for that matter. But I will say this one thing, though. That as long as we've lived, there has been science. And as long as we will live, there will be science. And as long as after our disappearance, we will. After we live, or after the death of our species, or extinction, there will still be science. And we would have just answered them as much as I would like. So, yeah, that is probably the end of this episode. And right now, let's just say that we are a bit abnormal, and see you. But one thing though, this is not the end of the episode. Haha, tricked ya. The cosmos of the harmony of the world is that we need to find a way to predict stuff. And why do the planets even move around like they do? Or should I say, orbit around? Well, it turns out because of epicycles and retrograde motion. What is retrograde motion? It is basically the motion of how things move around an object. So let's just say I have Doctor Strange, who is going to orbit this finger. And he's going to orbit it like this, in an ellipse. So this is what's going to happen. When he's closer to the finger, he's going to orbit faster. But when he's farther from the finger, like, he's going to orbit slower. Fast, slow. Fast, slow. Fast, slow. And I guess you guys could take the point here and get the point. And right now, yes, that is technically the point of this world. We seem to have some sort of disadvantages while we are doing all of these things. And the one thing that seems to happen is that a lot of people try to create science fiction to just prove their facts. And usually science fiction is a useful way to prove your facts. And sometimes they aren't. One thing I will say that could be proven with science fiction is the truth about the science fiction. And the reason why we read science fiction, which you need to read my sci-fi episodes on, I don't know, like Break the World or 1984 to just find out. And right now, we will seem to be in a world where science fiction does sort of exist. I mean, science fiction for the 1950s seemed to be science fiction of today, where the science fiction of 1850s turns out to be the actual science fiction of 1950, and an author from the 1800s was able to predict World War II somehow. Wow. But before that and after that, people have been still discovering things, like Newton with his laws of motion and his gravity and his laws of gravity. I think his name, yeah, Galileo and his discoveries of the moon, Ptolemy and his, well, discoveries and observations, and Leibniz with his calculus. And yeah, that's why science is here. Now, why do we even have all these things at all in the first place? Why do we even have astrology in the first place? The answer, turns out, lies in the hearts of our hearts. We explore the cosmos with our brains and our imaginations, but we lack one thing that we do need to explore the cosmos, at least in my opinion, and that is probably our wits. We sometimes have wits, and usually we get our wits, certainly, but other times we don't get our wits. Why I'm saying all of this is because of how we are incompetent. And since we are incompetent, we are technically useless at all. Right now, since the beginning of our time, there seems to be a bit of an upgrade. And that's exactly what we need. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you guys did enjoy this episode, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next episode. Shannon out. Peace.